We shall see.
Well,
We shall see in a
either
moment.
that or we're just talking to each other.
We're just talking to each other. Like we do anyway.
Yeah.
Let me open this baby up so we can see questions again like always. Boy, it's hard to see my screen out here. Which makes sense.
Drawback of a nice day.
Yeah. I don't know that there are many drawbacks to a nice day. Yeah, here we go.
It's a great day to ride in a Pebble.
That's right. It's a good
Really
day.
is.
It's a good day for a pedal adventure.
It really is, yes. I had
Okay,
a
we got audio.
fantastic ride here. It was really great. Talked to like 5 people on the way too. Forgot to mention that on the way in, I was stopped on the path by this wonderful group of old ladies who were watching me go by, and they started waving and laughing as I was going by. So I pulled over and stopped and let them take a look, and they were fascinated, and they took down the website better.bike, and it was just a that happens practically every ride. Something like
Nice.
that happens practically every ride.
Yeah, it's good. So Jay Drum is here. Welcome.
Hi, Jay Drum.
And Funny Boys. I don't know who that is, but.
Could one of you let us know how the audio is?
And Aaron is here. Welcome, Aaron. So we're going to keep talking so you can tell us how the audio is.
They're probably
about
looking
that?
at us going,
Sounds good here.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
So you can see the mic in the foreground. I got this little mic. I tested it the other day and it seemed to work great. So, and I tested it this morning. And as long as I don't walk to the backside of my, Pebble and talk while I'm on the ground or something, you can hear pretty well. So, anyway, so the first thing I want to do is we got a whole pile of questions after the last live stream, and so we're going to have kind of a little discussion here because basically I sent the questions to Kevin at Better Bike, and he responded, and then I also put my own responses in there too because I just wanted to have my say, so to speak, so of my experience. And in some cases, it's not really an experiential thing; it's actually like the official answer. So this will be good for everybody to see. And we'll do these,
All right.
and then if you guys have other questions relating to these or other completely separate questions, or you want us to show you something, we're welcome to do that. Hopefully we won't get rained on. We have to make a mad dash into the garage. Then we might have to make a mad dash into the garage.
so far so good.
So
Fingers. So we're going to do this in the form of an interview.
yeah.
So Eric, how long is tire life?
Well, so the official word is I have no idea because my tires are still in great shape. I said tentatively 2 years, question mark. I've had my Pebble now for about a year and a half. The first year I rode a lot more than I am now, just because 3 days a week I have to drive my son, so I can't ride my Pebble, which is sucky, but it's just what it is. And so that being said, I'm not riding as much as I used to. The official word from Better Bike is that it really depends on how much one rides, how aggressive they are in turns. You should never be aggressive in
Nope.
turns. If you are, you will roll your Pebble over. So that's the
Yeah.
official word on that. But road conditions, obviously if you get a flat, then, or run over some glass or,
Yeah.
whatever.
I'm always super paranoid about it. If I'm going towards a sharp turn of any kind, I will slow down. I will stop the throttle completely, and I'll take that turn. Assuming it's on a flat surface, I'll take that turn just pedaling. I won't take
Totally.
I won't take that turn with any motor assistance at all.
Yeah, unless it's like, a car road.
Yeah.
and then I'll still
gentle
slow down a little bit,
You do
But-
not want to flip your Pebble.
No, as a lot of people have done it, and I'm trying to avoid that. My
Yeah.
Pebble still looks very nice and pristine, and I'd like to keep it that way. All right, so let's do the next one.
Mine is way too new to do that to it. All right, so next question is, what are common wear items? Things that wear
Well,
out.
I think this pretty much comes back to all bicycles, so and cars for that matter. So we've got tires, we've got chains, and we've got brakes,
Yep.
brake pads and that kind of stuff. And
We're
so
going to do a brake adjustment live in a little
yeah,
bit.
we can do it right now because it relates to the brakes.
Oh,
so,
all right.
so Damon asked me this morning how you adjust your brakes on your Pebble, and So I'm going to go grab the camera because there's no way you're going to be able to see what I'm doing if I don't. So just bear with me, the interruptions. I think I'm going to leave the mic plugged in for this because it'll pick us up just fine. Sorry about the rocky video, everybody.
Oh.
Denied. Underneath this thing, that was not a good idea on my part.
All right. So what we're talking about here is that on my Pebble, the right brake has gotten squishy.
Right. So
And
the way you adjust this thing, the easiest way, is literally just to dial this little red doohickey right here.
yeah.
So you're gonna look down, I don't know if you can see it. You're gonna look right down here and you're gonna look at this gap. There's no gap there right now because I actually have the parking brake set so it won't roll down the hill. But if there was a gap, then what you'd want to do, a click at a time, and it goes this way to tighten up, and this.
Have we lost our live?
We may have lost our stream here.
Oh boy.
Oh, I think we're back.
Yay!
Wow, that was crazy. I guess don't walk up to the garage door if you want to have audio and video.
Guess not.
Sorry everybody if that totally interrupted your viewing.
So
Okay.
if you missed it, just so you know, what I'm doing right now is adjusting my rear brake because it's gotten soft, it's gotten squishy. With that little red dial thing that Eric just showed us. I hope you saw it on the rear wheel.
If not, I'll send a picture around or something.
And what I'll do, I'll just turn it 1 or 2, count how many I'm going, and see how responsive the brake is. See, now it's getting a little bit more responsive. It's not quite where it needs to be yet, but it's close. I think maybe just one more turn.
You might want to also ride it a little bit because occasionally the brake will be kind of a little bit like not perfectly centered, and you don't want to hear that rubbing either because that's really annoying.
Oh yeah, that's
So,
all right.
hey, is everybody back? By the way, I'm hoping you are. When I moved the camera up here and back, when I moved it back, I lost. It said I lost connection, so hopefully everybody's there. So sorry about that.
Go ahead and message us in the
yeah,
forum.
message us. Yeah, okay. So J Drum's got us. Good.
Yay!
Yay!
All right. Hooray!
Technical difficulties.
We'll try not to do that again.
So, all right. So we are on to the pebble cracking at the front where it mounts thing.
So you had that crack happen with your Pebble. You had the front mount point where you started to get some cracking in the body, right?
Yes.
Has it done any more of that?
It has not done any more. It's basically just this long of a crack next to each of those bolts, and it hasn't done anything else. And at this point, it's like, I don't know. I'm not gonna do anything crazy like slap a bunch more green stuff on the front to try to make it more robust. I'm just trying to be, I don't know. I used to lift it up at the front when I put my my car cover or my Pebble cover on.
Oh.
And now I lift it by the wheels. And so now I don't lift it by the front anymore, and I'm sure that probably didn't help my situation.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think the frame is really designed for.
So Sunny Judd is there from Pakistan, I think. Welcome.
Wow. Hello.
Crazy.
Hello.
I did want to look inside of his really quick because according to Kevin, with regard to the cracks, they have now reinforced the mounting points with fiberglass blocks, and I just wanted to see what his looks like inside. I'm not going to lift the camera and all that because it didn't work out well last time. So just give me a second here. I'm going to take a quick gander at this with my handy flashlight. Hopefully not drop my keys everywhere. Looks the same inside. Well, interesting. It looks exactly the same inside as mine. So they've apparently reinforced. Maybe there's a fiberglass block between the body and the front.
Let's mark that one as follow up with Kevin to find out more details about it.
Yeah, maybe that's a good call.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
So, did you have to use silicone around the window openings?
That's a good question. So, I'm going to give Kevin's answer first because I might revise mine now. So Kevin's answer is, let's see. It is an option to do, but we haven't seen leaks, and silicone tends to decay within a year or two. So my first thought was I haven't, but I likely will. At the same time, now hearing that silicone decays in a couple years, I'm not sure that's the best choice. You've had problems with leaking. I've had problems with leaking. Maybe I haven't reported it to them and they don't know that there's problems with leaking, but not this window, but the one on the other side on my Pebble, it leaks crazy. Like, if it's dumping, because of this ledge here, the water just sits on it and then it just comes inside.
Oof.
And it's just at the back, because of that bend. Starting to feel raindrops,
yeah,
man.
I felt a couple there myself.
Might
Cross
have
our
to make
fingers, hope it doesn't get worse.
So Mary says, what I do is actually fill it and then replace it once a year. It peels right off when you're ready to replace it. Oh. Well, that's good to know. Seriously?
Maybe,
I should have talked to my neighbor about running his little, gas blower or whatever he's doing over there.
Yeah, oh God. So
Hopefully.
yeah, we should ask Mary to record a video of her doing that sometime.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the next one then.
All right, let's see if we can get through these quickly before the rain starts. Oh God. So, how are the zippers holding up?
So the zippers, according to Kevin, is mud guards behind the rear wheels do help. He's got them on his personal Pebble. They have not yet. Hopefully, before I say anything else, can anybody else hear that obnoxious, like, motorized blower or gasoline tool he's using over there? I mean, it's really obnoxious to us, but maybe the mic's not picking it up. Anyway, what he says is they're going to develop some mud guards, but they haven't done it yet. What he said is that it's easy to make one out of something called coroplast. I don't even know what that is.
I don't know either.
Or polycarbonate. Washing the zipper with soapy water has always restored function for us.
Huh.
So Jay Drum says WD-40 worked for me. One treatment, it's faint. Oh, that's a good idea. I use the actual industrial zipper lube that they use for boats.
Yeah?
And it works pretty well. But I will tell everybody that I did have my passenger side zipper completely failed.
Oh,
now,
wow.
I don't know that it's purely because of mud, although I suspect. But it also could be, I was number 7. It was pulled too tight, and the black seal, this stuff, came off almost immediately. And so I think maybe it was a manufacturing issue, like where it was literally not the right size. And so what would happen is I'd zip and unzip and it would separate.
So I haven't had any issues with my zipper yet. I mean, occasionally if there's like something stuck in it, that'll cause it to jam for a moment, but I haven't had any trouble clearing it. One thing that's definitely clear is that I don't have that same issue. I don't have the tight pulling. It's not too tight. So yeah, it's a little sprinkly out here.
It's definitely getting a little
sprinkly.
moist.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. If it gets really wet, we're gonna have to make a mad dash inside.
Yeah.
Which means I don't know, because my car's in there and there's not much room, so
we might not be able to actually have the
we
pedals
might just
on
call it
screen.
off anyway. Mary says that she didn't need to treat the zippers at all, and oh, by the way, the purple Pebble is sold. It's going to James in Washington State. That's great.
Yay!
Yeah, I love that
I'm a
color.
big fan of that purple
That
Pebble.
purple
That's
was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue here.
All right. So, how much maintenance, if any, on the electric motors or switches?
Kevin's official answer is a smiley face because I said none so far, and I have not heard from, other than there was a failure at the very beginning for somebody, and it was really a wiring issue, I think, more than anything. Other than that, there's not been any serious issues, and I know that they've completely upgraded the electronics since mine was made.
Yeah.
I have not had problems with mine, but I intended to do the upgrade to 1,000 watts, and after hearing about some of the issues that other people had after making modifications, I'm kind of scared to, because I've never had a problem, and it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
I don't ride up big steep hills, so I don't really need the extra wattage. So that's kind of where I'm at there. So
I wouldn't even want to use the extra wattage on a big steep hill anyways, because I'd be concerned about torque.
Are there any
maybe
that work, shops probably, that work independently for Better Bike Company if you have any other issues? So the official word is no, there are not shops that work with Better Bike, but
I've had good luck with just the local bike shops. I had some bolts strip and pop out on the from the rear wheel assembly, and so I had it. I have a AAA, and they have their bike hauling service too. If you're a AAA Plus member, I believe it is, then they'll also do roadside assistance for bikes in certain states like Oregon, and they came and put my Pebble on a flatbed truck, hauled it to a bike shop in town that I recommended, and they were able to fix it. They got it up and working and squared away. The only real issue there is whether or not they have a loading bay, because since it's a big vehicle, it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't fit up like a ramp, and almost all the bike shops in town, including the one that I'd really like to go to, which is the Electric Bike Company, has no way for you to get it in their doors, and they won't service it if they can't get it into their shop, which makes perfect sense.
But there's the bike shop down. We have one called Paul's Bicycle Shop.
Right. And it's a local shop.
It's a local shop, but they've got a loading bay. So I loaded it up there. I called them ahead of time to warn them that I had a really weird bike coming, and they were able to service it no problem. Helped me get it back down out of their loading bay afterwards, and then off I went. It was great.
Yeah, that's
awesome. They also applied Loctite to all my bolts, which is good.
Yeah, blue Loctite is your friend.
Yes.
Hopefully you're not hearing that gas thing over there, everybody. All right,
so
yeah, it's probably a chainsaw. We got a lot of down trees after that big storm we had.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing is, how is the interior holding up? You can say the answer, I guess.
I'll say the answer on this one. Yeah, really great. Okay, so so far right now, I've got all of the none of the liner has decayed or degraded in any way.
And neither is mine, by the way.
It's very comfortable. The liner also does keep the sound down from outside.
It does,
too.
yeah. It's not as much of a rattle box.
Yeah,
as my
really
experience
not.
with the
Elf.
Yeah, the Elf was more of a rattle box.
The Elf rattled a lot when I test rode it, but this one, I really, in some ways, I almost feel like it's too good of sound dampening, because there have been a few times where I felt like, did I hear something break?
I'm seeing the answers here in discussion. Eric, I believe, does not. The other guy, Damon.
Hi, I'm Damon.
Does. So what's the question? I guess I'm missing that.
What's the question?
I could have that backwards.
The question was how the interior is holding up.
Oh, how the interior is holding.
Yeah.
Oh, solar panels. Neither of us have solar panels.
Solar panels. No, we don't have solar
answer
panels.
To that.
Considering the weather around here, yeah.
This is our typical lighting situation.
Yeah.
So we don't get solar panels. It's like liquid sunshine.
But this is a great opportunity for me to correct something I said in the last video. I was mistaken about the impact that solar panels have on batteries, and somebody called me on that in the comments. So I just wanted to get officially on record. I looked up a whole bunch of stuff about solar panels and batteries, and the way that the solar panel feeds electricity into the system on the Pebble, it's going to make your battery life better, not worse, because it's going to reduce, it's not going to prevent you from discharging from the battery. It's not going to frequently cause you to charge, discharge, or anything like that, anything that's going to be hard on the battery. It's just going to reduce the amount that you're drawing from the battery as you're riding, as long as you've got the solar panel.
Well, plus
on.
It's keeping those electrons moving in a space where it's healthy for it instead of harmful. So that's
exactly. Good. So I was incorrect on that, and I just wanted to correct the record on that. So if anybody was concerned or going, oh my God.
Okay, we got 2 more pages. Let's do
it.
Okay. Sorry, everybody.
So how long do the brakes work before replacing them?
So the official word is that 3,000 to 4,000 miles. That's what Kevin says. As always, it depends on your usage. I mean, I don't break that much, and these will last about twice as long as what he said. So, and these will require a shop to maintain. So you're
Yeah.
literally going to have to pull your Pebble, like jack it up, pull the wheels off, take them into a shop, and have them serviced. Unless you're comfortable with taking apart internal gear hubs, which not
I'm
too
not.
many people are, because that's pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No.
All right, so
How long of a commute do you normally have? You answer first, and then I'll answer.
well, my commute is 6 miles round trip, so it's a very short commute, and for me, I can go like 2-3 weeks on a charge.
Nice, nice. So I don't actually commute to work in this. I work from home most of the time. So what I'm using my Pebble for is around town errands and hauling my kids around. So depending on which part of town I'm heading towards, that could be anywhere from from just a mile to 10 miles, 11 miles, 12 miles. I've gone from the south side of Eugene to the north side of Springfield in it before, and that's a hefty ride.
Well, I did a 30-mile training ride on this a couple times when I was training for my Century ride last year, so
Nice.
you can definitely put some miles on it. I don't know that if I had a 30-mile ride like every day, that I think this is the best way to go. I suppose it depends on your fitness level and the amount of time you have to ride, because I mean that's a lot of time.
You do it enough, you'll get more fit.
That's true. That's true. All right.
So
The modifications.
modifications. Yeah. What have you made any additional modifications?
I think I've talked about most of mine on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
I got clipless pedals. I had that broken chain part, and Kevin specifically reminds that. I remember that chain idler mount you had. We haven't had another incident like that. That was, I think, in maybe video 5 or 6 or something like that.
So far, mine's been holding up fine on that.
And we actually, according to Kevin, the fabricators are making sure the weld goes all the way around that flat bar. However, the last time he was over, we looked under his, and his
Couldn't
was
see
not
it.
welded all the way around like it was supposed to be. So,
yeah.
fingers crossed that you won't have the same problem I did.
Maybe they made that change just after mine.
Well, no, I think it's been going on for a long time, but
No, I mean that maybe they made the change to do the full weld all the way around.
no, I think it was
That's
like right
definitely
after mine had the problem. So it was
Oh.
well after yours was made.
Oh wow. Then
So I guess
I hope,
note to self, take a gander at that. But
yeah.
we've discussed making the same modification that mine has to the chain system, which would make that a null and void issue anyway.
Yeah. So next question: what
Yeah, it's-
accessories are a must-have?
The most common, so he didn't actually make a comment on this, but you got to have a golf cart cover to keep the rain out when it's parked, especially if it's parked for any length of time.
Yep.
I use the 303 protectant cleaner. I showed it on the last video to clean the interior of the Pebble and to protect the plastics and things. And then just basically pretend like it's a Corvette, little mini Corvette that pedals,
Yeah.
and treat the exterior like you would your Corvette.
Yeah. Treat it gently.
I use a USB fan to keep the fog out. It sits right here. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but basically I have it kind of blowing kind of this way. So as I'm breathing, the breath is going out the window instead of fogging up the front windscreen, because that was a big problem for me.
Actually, I have a USB fan too, and I was not having any success keeping the fog off with it until he told me about that particular way to set it up, having it facing towards you and keeping your breath off the windshield. Something I hadn't tried before. I had it blowing directly on the windshield, and that didn't work so well.
But you also said that you weren't having fogging issues.
That's true. I'm also not having as many fogging issues.
So maybe they've, I don't know,
changed
done
the material,
something.
done something,
I
given
don't
it a life.
know.
I don't know. Who knows?
So Mary says, have you noticed any difference in the ride and being able to pedal with the new model compared to the old model? Honestly, I have not ridden his Pebble. And sometime really soon, we're going to try to figure out a day to do it when it's not liquid
Like this.
sunshine. And we're going to actually have a race between his Pebble and my Pebble. Of course, that might have more to do with fitness level and all that, which means he'll probably beat me because he's riding more than me now. But
Who knows?
or no cheating with the off-road switch.
That reminds me, just today, I did some speed tests on the way here with a speedometer. I got the Pebble without it being in off-road mode. I had a nice flat straightaway that I could really gun it on, and I got it up to about 19 miles an hour, which is pretty good for me because, bigger guy. I'm not a 160 pound, triathlete. So getting it up to 19 miles per hour in on-road mode for me is pretty good.
So Mary says that I found the newer one to be lighter than the old one, which is why I asked, and I agree 100%. When we pulled his out of the trailer and started moving it around, I was shocked at how much lighter it was.
Yep.
And part of it was that he only has one battery and I have two, and so that's probably 15 pounds right there or something. But not just that, it's definitely feels lighter, and I'm sure it has to do with the body construction and the way they're putting it together now.
Yeah. And for the record, don't tell anybody, but I also switched
You're
it
telling 1,000 people right now. Go ahead.
I also switched it into off-road mode to test it on the way here, and I did it on a nice straightaway where there was no traffic or anything like that, so I felt like I could kind of get away with it, and gunned it and pedaled as hard as I could. I started to spin out, and we've got it on the middle gear for the front gear is on the middle setting now. And I started to spin out as I got fast enough. Once I hit 25, I started to get a little worried and slowed it back down again. I think I can get it going faster than 25 if I really try.
That's pretty crazy. So, let's see. Robert McClure says, guesstimate the difference in weight.
15, 20 pounds maybe?
J-Drum's saying 20 to 30 pounds. I don't know that it's that much. I would say probably 15 pounds anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty easily. And I think it really has to do with the old material, the way they were constructing it. They probably just didn't have as much control, and there's probably areas in the body that are way thicker than they need to be, or maybe because the material is inherently weaker, it needs to be thicker, denser. I just don't know the answer to that. The actual body looks to be almost identical. I mean, the wheels and tires and all the other components seem to be virtually the same, so I don't know where all that weight, maybe the wiring harnesses are a lot smaller and lighter. I definitely know that the controller is a lot smaller and lighter. My controller is probably 3 times the size of yours, and it's probably weighs at least twice as much. I don't know.
Probably. My controller slides in right next to the battery comfortably.
Yeah, and mine's 2/3 the size of the battery.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. So, Robert says I'd be worried about a kite in the strong wind conditions. Not really. I mean, I don't know. What's your experience? Have you had really strong winds yet?
I've had a couple of times in strong winds, but I didn't really notice it because I ride with my windows down all the time, because if your windows are up, you get overheated really quickly. It's
unless you're in where J-Drum is, where it's really freaking cold.
Well, I can tell you on the days that it was snowing, I still had the windows down.
Yeah, I know.
Because it was getting too warm.
But snow here is like 29. You know?
Yeah.
So
it's not 7 below.
-15 or something. So,
but yeah, when the wind was blowing, I felt strong wind, but I didn't feel like I was unstable in there.
So Mary says the controller looks to be the same size. Really?
Really?
So I'm talking about the battery tender piece. So you've got the battery's like this big. It's like a huge brick. And then on mine, the battery controller, the battery tender, the part that plugs into the wall, is like, again, it's a big, huge brick.
And mine
and his is
much
like
smaller. It's
like this. I mean, it's really small. So is that maybe? And she has and J-Drum's saying the same. So
maybe you got one really early.
You have Mary's got an upgraded motor and controller on both. She might be thinking about the wiring system or something. That's the upgraded one.
Yeah, I don't
maybe
know.
That's what she's. Well, we'll see if she answers. Anyway.
Yeah.
In the meantime, let's see.
Let's move on. What features do you love and haven't covered?
I have no idea. I've covered a lot of things. I love his new mud flap. It is amazing. Like I've noticed the back of your Pebbles clean, and whenever I ride, mine is disgusting. So I have to wipe it off every time I rolled it.
So Kevin likes
Right.
likes the tires, and I gotta say, I agree. These are great tires. When you keep them at the right pressure level, it makes the ride nice and smooth, and you feel like it's gripping the road really
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
So the cruiser tires, definitely a good.
And
good
so
choice.
far, knock on wood, no flats, no blowouts.
Nope.
And I certainly given it a try. I mean, there's the in the gutters around here where you're riding with the cars, all the crap from the road gets kicked over there. So all the glass, all the nails, all the lovely stuff.
Yep.
And so far, so good. I do have a very slow leak in my passenger side, other side front tire, but it's so slow that I literally just pump it up every couple weeks, so it's not an issue.
Have you considered using slime or something
Yeah,
like
I've
that?
thought about that, but that just adds more weight, and I'm just like, forget it.
Well, slime's pretty light. You squirt in a little bit, and
Yeah, I don't know.
it does the job. Yeah. Anyways.
Mary says I got the liners to stop the leaks on all the tires. Have you hit any significant potholes that you? Yes, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Man, I hit this one so bad one time that it knocked my alignment way out, and I had to realign the thing. So
Oh.
yeah, just watch out for those.
Yeah, on my road. There's this point right before you get off of my sort of residential area road and onto the main road, where the whole right across the whole street. It just has
there's
this
like a
divot.
huge divot.
There's
Yeah.
this huge divot, and at one point I hit that without paying attention to it, and I was going pretty quick. And I just went chunk 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 chunk, and I felt like, oh God, I got to stop and look around and take a look at the whole thing and make sure I didn't break something going
Yeah.
over it. 'Cause I
Well,
hit
you
it
don't
pretty hard.
notice it in the back because the suspension in the back is
Yeah,
so
suspension
good
in the
on
back
these
is
things.
really good. Yeah, that's true. But on the front, when I hit it, it was like tunk tunk, and
Man, these people with their loud cars driving by, they got to get more pebbles around here. Let's see.
or at least an electric car. Oh, so
Yeah, Mary said she hit it with the rear wheel, which is again,
Yeah.
So,
So one of the questions is, have you welcomed Nevin and Kevin or a representative from Better Bike to join in?
yes, I actually texted him this morning, and I haven't heard back. But I mean, I was kind of like late to the draw. So what I'm gonna do is once I figure out when the next one's gonna be, I'm gonna schedule with him. Hopefully, he'll be able to do it, and just have Damon call him, and so we'll have his voice. Obviously, we can't have him here unless he wants to fly out to Eugene sometime.
You're welcome
And maybe
to.
sometime I'll try to figure out how to do more of a studio sort of live stream where we have more of a discussion instead of
Seems
a show and tell
Hangouts
sort of
might
time.
be- live Hangouts might be. A
Yeah,
good
yeah,
option
something.
for
Anyway,
that,
we'll
yeah.
figure something out. Anyway,
So-
that's a good question.
New features to look forward to.
So, what feature? Let's see. That's what we already did. Okay, since yours, we've added the 1500 watt off-road switch to the dash. We'll be upgrading the dash appearance. Of course, it's got a terrific polycarbonate rear fender.
Oh my God, it's so great.
The black powder-coated roof trim, which I definitely like. I think it looks better than the silver.
Yeah.
And let's see.
It says they're
Will
likely,
likely
to
offer front wheel mud guards before summer. Well, that'd be good. If they do that, I'll get those for sure.
How much time do you spend in a Pebble every week?
Well, Kevin says 5 to 10 hours. I spend about 2 hours max.
I'm probably closer to the 5 to 10 hours.
That's good.
I'm riding that thing all the time, every chance I get. One of the nice things about working from home is I can choose, if I want to, I can choose to work at a coffee shop or work at wherever I feel like going. And with the Pebble, I have an excuse to get in my bike and ride everywhere I go.
Come on, dude. I'm about ready to go over there and tell him to shut up.
Can they hear him?
Edward says that my neighbor with the chainsaw is a kick. So good times. Sorry, everybody. It's live. Now you know it's live because the guy with the chainsaw is going. All right, let's try to fly through this if we can.
So if you ordered another today, what would be your advice?
Where are we? Oh,
Number
okay.
17.
Yeah, so I said definitely get the parking brake lever, which is a little push button on the brake instead of having to use a strap. I tried to get that at the last second on mine, but unfortunately it was going to be like $200, and I was like, forget it. I'm not doing it. And it was just because it was already crated, so I was like, forget that. But I would get that. I would get the lighting package like I have. I would still get the windshield wiper. If if I didn't live in Phoenix or something, obviously. I'd probably get a single large battery, like the 100-mile battery, just for weight savings, if nothing else, because it really doesn't weigh that much more for the bigger capacity versus having two separate batteries. We're really getting
sudden
rained on now.
downpour.
We'll see how this goes.
All right.
We might have to go inside or something. All right.
All right. So real quick, do you have any routines for prep or in prep for riding or driving?
I just check my tires and make sure that there's nothing behind my Pebble. Are you ready to open the garage door? I think we're gonna take a dash inside,
I think
everybody.
we are.
We'll leave the Pebbles out.
Yeah, I'll zip up my window.
I'll zip my window up too. I don't want it to get all wet in there.
And I gotta ride mine back.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about this, everybody. We'll be with you in a second as soon as we move the camera and the mics.
During technical rain-related difficulties.
Yeah, it's live stream when you're seeing this. All right, let's do this. Oh. It's not light in here. It's a downer. All right. Quiet, Lily. Okay. Grab these things. Probably the video quality, it will get better. Sorry, everybody. That's what happens.
All right, make sure you can see me.
Yeah, make sure we can see us and hear us and all that stuff. Let's see here. That's actually okay.
Oh, that's good. All right.
Say hello to my Bike Friday, everybody. I was hoping that the sudden rain would make the guy with the horrible
The
chainsaw go away, but apparently he's really motivated to get whatever work done that he's doing.
All right.
Oh, this thing's starting to make the water is starting to make stuff run here.
It is, isn't it? All right. So
Let's see what
was that last question? The routine? Did you answer that question? I think we took off.
Yeah, we kind of had to make a mad dash there in the middle.
Yeah. Oh,
that was the order one today, the 1 battery pack versus 2. So yeah. I did answer that.
Yeah.
And then you did the prep.
Yep. I always, for myself, I check the tire pressure. I make sure that no bolts have come loose. Every time I ride, I do a visual inspection of the rear wheel to make sure everything is kosher there. I do a quick wipe down if there's any fog that's built up overnight or anything like that. That's about it.
Yeah, cool.
So, any blind spots?
I said that for me it can be kind of hard to see out the back window when I'm looking over my shoulder since I'm so tall, and so I've considered adding a Bluetooth or a hardwired backup camera to eliminate the issue, and he just said, hey, that's cool, if you do that, let us know how it works. And I know other people have done it, and that's why I thought maybe I'd do it sometime, but it's been one of those things where I kind of tilted my seat a little bit more and adjusted the chain a little bit more, and so now it's not so much of an issue. I can actually see better out the back window, and Damon's got the bigger mirrors, so what's your experience like?
Oh, I have no problem viewing stuff going on behind me because of the mirrors. The new mirrors are great.
They're like twice as big as mine, and I should probably just replace them. I mean, it's an easy fix.
It's an easy fix. They're really, they pop right off. It's good.
J Drum says a heater is an option.
Yep.
The temps are below 25 in winter. That makes sense. Mary's saying buy a parking brake on Amazon and just replace. I thought about doing that, but it looks like it's wired in, and I am worried that it's not going to make the brakes light up when I use the back brake. So I probably just need to call Kevin and confirm that I don't have to do anything special there.
Yeah.
Mary says best chain breaker. Well, you saw the one I used in my video. I guess my official answer is don't use that one because it was kind of crappy. But I mean, if you're talking about the chain breaker, the chain for the drive that you pedal, then any chain breaker will work for a bicycle. I mean, even the little portable ones are fine. But for the drive chain that is the motor drive chain, that's a 420 weight chain. So just a good quality 420 weight chain breaker is all you need.
Yeah. Yeah. So, advice for on the road with cars. Got any advice for that?
Well, my answer is just like when I rode a motorcycle for a while. They say command attention.
Yeah.
And so you just want to drive like you're a car. When I'm in downtown traffic, I drive in the car lane, in the center, just like I'm a car. I park in parking spaces just like I'm a car, except unlike a car, because you can see how long my car is, my Pebble's only like this long, you know, and so I'll just park with the tail end of the Pebble even with the other cars. Because the last thing I want to do is have some guy with a big SUV or something whip into the spot and just destroy my Pebble. Because he doesn't realize that my Pebble's there. So anyway, that's that. And as far as
same for me. I mean, that's exactly what I do too.
Other than that, you just ride like you're invisible, because as a bike you are invisible, and if you don't do anything that you wouldn't do if you were invisible, for instance, if there's a gap in traffic and you were completely invisible and nobody could see you, you were like the invisible man, would you run between those two cars and expect them to slow down? Of course not, because they're going to cream you.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so if you just treat yourself like that when you're riding a bike at all times, then you're good. I mean, so far, knock on wood, I've only had one near miss on my bicycle. It was years ago. It was on my mountain bike when I was riding to school or riding to work one day, and somebody. That was the weirdest thing. I think they were just asleep at the wheel. I don't know. But they pulled out right in front of me, and I slammed on my brakes. And, I mean, it was like I could see my breath on their glass as it went past. It was that close. So it was.
I've had very similar experience. I actually ran into somebody at one point because I was on the bike. I was in the bike lane, and they were in the car lane next to me.
They turned right next in front of you.
They turned. They didn't even bother looking.
Yeah.
And when I bumped into them, they just kept going.
Nice.
They didn't even. I don't think they even knew that they now had a nice big dent in their in their SUV.
And you were okay.
I was okay. Yeah.
That's good.
I bumped into it. My wheel hit it. I went up a little bit. Almost went over. Came back down. Survived.
Good.
So be careful out there. All right. So what are the costs and benefits of ownership?
So my answer is no insurance, no need for a driver's license, ability to park practically anywhere, lots of attention from other drivers and passersby, kids love your vehicle, it's loads cheaper to operate than a typical car, of course you get great exercise. I mean, riding one of these is much harder than riding a road bike. So if you're getting one because you don't like to pedal and you want to just be able to cruise down the road, unless you feel like good going 10 miles an hour and just using the throttle only, you're going to get a lot more of a workout in a Pebble than you ever would on a typical, road style bike.
Yep.
Now, if your other bike's a full suspension, it's probably about the same. But just saying.
So I got to agree on all of that. I particularly enjoy the talking about it. I mentioned the old ladies who stopped me on the way here.
Yeah.
The most fun I've had so far with interacting with other people over my Pebble, I had an entire school playground full of kids run after me.
Oh yeah.
to waving and laughing and
totally.
yelling over the Pebble as I went by them.
Yeah, when I've driven past a whole bunch of different like the child care places, and all the little kids are out. They're like, woo, and then they come running and waving and screaming, and it's pretty cool.
Yep. So let's see here. Has it affected your view of cars?
So my answer to this was I love commuting in the Pebble, and even when I'm sitting in traffic, I'm backpedaling, I'm enjoying the fresh air. It's very low frustration because I've got a couple spots on my ride home where basically I'm either I'm on the bike path and I'm going really slow because there's a whole line of people walking in front of me, or somebody on a skateboard, or dogs, and I just don't feel comfortable with telling a whole bunch of people they have to get off the path so that I can come through.
Yeah.
So I just, I just relax. I'm in no hurry.
Yep.
Or I take the road, and if I take the road home, there's a nice bike path all the way home, but there is a certain spot where the bike path ends because they're doing a bunch of road construction. There's a bridge there, and so I just get into the car lane, and I almost always am stuck in traffic there longer than almost the rest of the ride.
Yeah.
But even when I'm sitting there, I've got the windows down, I'm sitting there backpedaling, I'm just enjoying myself, listening to the birds sing, and unfortunately smelling everybody else's exhaust. But other than that, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
But compared to driving in the car, where there's always slow people. There's people that are going way too slow around corners. That just drives me crazy, especially when they're driving like, Porsches and stuff. And it's like, dude, come on, you got a Porsche, just, whip it. That's what they're for.
So much
Anyway.
much the same. As far as how I view cars and in general, I don't want to be in them as much.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't want to be in a car as much. It's just, I've got everything, anything that I want to do out and about, I can do in my Pebble, and that makes the appeal of getting into a car and being stuck in traffic and having none of the versatility of a bike just drops.
Yeah. Mary asks if we had interior problems with our interior light on the trunk not going off. He doesn't actually have the light kit on his bike. On mine, what I did was I used Gorilla Glue, and I glued a little disc of metal into the spot where that trunk lid comes down and pushes the button, and that helped for a while. But yeah, I have had problems with that. And right now, when I'm not using it, I actually put a piece of that Velcro stuff over the top of the button so it can't come up at all. So which is a little frustrating because then it's not really functioning. What I really wish is instead of doing a button switch like they've got now, that they literally just had a side switch, on or off. Like not a thing where you lift it up and it automatically comes on, but literally you come in, you open up the tailgate, you flip the switch, the light's on, you flip the switch, and it's off. To me, that would be more functional, and I'll probably put one in. It's just I haven't done it yet, so that's where I'm at. Yeah, she says I use the Velcro also. That makes perfect sense. All right, so what plans do we have for our Pebble likely upgrades?
Well, you've got a very detailed answer to that, so I want you to go first.
So he says let us know how this all turns out, because possibly a two-speed crank set, like a what is it, a Husselfeld, or there's a 2 and a 3-speed crankset option where you basically use a switch button and it changes. It's a planetary gear system, so that then you have the one chain ring, but you either are 1-to-1 or it's 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 depending on the gearing, or 1.8-to-1 or something. So it changes your gears so that then I could use. It'd be like I had the small chain ring for going up hills, or like I had the middle chain ring for everything else. And I've thought about doing that. They're really expensive. They're like $600.
Oh my God.
And so it's kind of like, and technically they're not made anymore. So like I'd have to find one. So I'm not sure that I will do that. There are other options, but that was something I originally had thought about. The other thing that I probably will do in the long run is when this 8-speed rear hub dies, which it will eventually die, I'm probably gonna, like I suggested to Popeye, and he's had really good luck with this, switch it to a 5-speed. Because the truth is, you just don't need that many gears, especially with the electric drive. So I use gear 1, and then I flip it to gear 4, and then I use gear 5 and gear 6, and then I flip it to gear 8. Like, I don't use all those gears. And so if I had wider gearing spacing, if I guess I would change my answer if I did more hill climbing, but I'm not. And so I guess my other temptation, if I did more hill climbing, would be to retrofit it to a Da Vinci hub, which I know Mary's put on hers, and at least she did on the purple one. And the Da Vinci hub's cool because it allows you an infinite gear range within the overall gear range. So you can, there's no gears. It's a CVT hub for your bike. They're really heavy. They're a little finicky and not as robust as these Sturmey Archer hubs are, and which is I know why they didn't want to put one on mine, because mine would have been like literally the second one to have one, and they had not tested it at all.
Wow.
And so I was kind of like, maybe I don't want to do that after all. But that was something I was considering doing. And so when my hub dies, I don't know. I probably will switch to the 5-speed Sturmey Archer, but we'll see. Maybe there's going to be something better available at that time. And then the other thing that I'm going to definitely do in the long run is I'm going to switch my brake out on the rear for a hydraulic. I know that I won't be able to use the parking brake thing at that point, probably, unless I can figure out some sort of retrofit or something. But hydraulics really, really nice, especially with a system like that where you're not like folding it, or I wouldn't be able to put a hydraulic brake on my Bike Friday because those hydraulic brake lines don't like to be folded, and this bike folds. But that thing, obviously, you don't have to worry about. So I just have a really long run. I wouldn't have as much adjustment. I'd have way more power. I mean, it'd be insanely way, way, way more power, and couldn't hurt, And so that's where I'm at there.
I really like the idea of a hydraulic rear brake. That's something that I may want to talk to you about at some point afterwards.
Yeah, that's something to consider.
If you do end up doing that. So, if possible, could you please tell me what the relative difference in height is between the bottom bracket and the part of the seat where your butt goes?
So I actually measured mine, and according to my measurement, it was about an inch difference. So it's a very upright riding. Kind of reminds me of like those Easy Rider recumbents, where you're basically like you're pedaling like this. Use the term loosely. Obviously, I'll fall over, but you're sitting virtually like this. I'll turn sideways so you can see my leg here. But this is kind of your pedaling system here. And maybe I'll try to take a picture sometime, but I don't want to move the camera and all that junk right now.
All right.
So where are we here?
Yeah, we're near on the back page.
Oh, we're on the back page. Good.
Last two questions. Any plans? Then this would be more of a question for Kevin than for us. But
right.
Any plans for distribution worldwide? Sales in Australia, UK, South America, etc.
So the official word is yes. The challenge is the many different e-bike laws. The most difficult issue is for EU, their 250 watt motor limit. I can tell you right now, I would not want to ride this thing with a 250 watt motor. The problem is that they need to design different laws for different vehicles, because a 250 watt motor on a 20-pound road bike would be insane, like super fast, 30 miles an hour. They'd have to limit the speed and all that, because it's just like, it'd make a 20-pound bike into a 40-pound bike. Well, a 40-pound bike plus a 200-pound rider, that's 240 pounds. That's nothing,
Yeah.
And a 250 watt motor would be like a ton.
More than a watt
But you
per
take
pound.
you take a 250 watt motor and apply it to a 200-pound bike plus a 200-pound rider. That's not going to cut it.
No.
And we've got 750 watts, and at times, especially on steep hills, I feel like it's not enough. That's why they made the on-road switch, or the off-road switch, I think, is for those types of situations where you just need a little bit more growl for a few minutes.
And since the law is specifically about the speed that it can go, right? They do need to adjust the. I mean, that's really an issue, because the assumption is that wattage equals speed, equals max speed, and that's just not so.
Yeah, because you can limit it.
Yeah, you can limit it. You can have with the controllers in the pedal limit the speed that it'll output. Even if I gun it in the off-road mode, its max speed is going to be 24 miles an hour, even if I'm not even in it. Even if like some 160-pound triathlete's in it, its top speed just on the wattage alone is going to be 24 miles an hour. At least that's what Kevin and Evan say. And the laws aren't caught up to that.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
to the fact that you can do that you can have the software controlled limiter in there.
So let's see. There's an answer here. But
Oh.
what if I have the 1,000 or 1,500 watt motor? Does the law in Florida prevent anyone to drive on the Pebble with those wattages? J Drum says I have one. Maybe about something else. Maybe I'm reading this wrong.
I don't know about Florida law.
As long as you don't go over 20 miles an hour, but you definitely want to check on any sorts of law stuff because obviously laws in each state are different. Some states just don't allow any e-bikes at all. Like in Oregon, you have to be 16 to drive an e-bike, or pilot, I think is how you say it.
E-bike?
Anyway, so whatever. So yeah. Yeah, they definitely need to be adjusted. I think if they just had a rule about like max speed.
That's exactly it. Max speed rather than max
regardless
wattage.
of wattage. Because, if somebody wants to build a 3,000 watt monster and then put it in a 400-pound e-bike that, otherwise fulfills the requirements, 3 wheels, pedal power, and all that, I mean, I say go for it, you know? I mean, whatever. As long as you're not going 60 miles an hour down the bike path and killing people left and right.
Oh my God. I was imagining pedestrians on a bike path.
Yeah.
Mowing through them.
So I guess the answer is that yes, they are planning to put these out to the world, but the biggest problem is the e-bike laws in all the various countries. And in order to import them, they have to fulfill those laws, and so it's one of those things. It's like a fluid issue,
So the last question, at least that we
pre-queued ones,
is can it tow a trailer? And my understanding is that the answer is yes on that. It definitely can.
Yes, it can tow a trailer. He actually sent me a picture of one towing a mountain bike. He's mounted a like a fork mount to the back of his Pebble, and then he mounts his the fork of his mountain bike on that, and then just straps the spare of the front wheel to the side of the bike, and he hauls it around, which is amazing, And my mountain bike's probably 30 pounds total. Of course, with the front wheel off and it landing on the rear wheel, the amount of weight that's actually applied to the back of the Pebble is really minimal. I mean, it's hardly anything. And because it's actually behind the rear axle, the weight is, it's not even going to really affect anything. I bet you wouldn't even notice it back there.
Yeah.
I think you could definitely mount like a child trailer to it because they have those little lock mounts. And if you just mounted it either to the right or left, it doesn't really matter, to the rear swing arm there, I think you'd be good to go. As long as you I wouldn't probably put a child back there, just because it's pretty far back and those are lower than you are, and cars are going to see you and think there's nothing behind you, and because you look like a car, they're going to think, oh, well, there's no way a car is going to have a trailer, and then they're going to whip around, I just wouldn't do it. There's back seat for that reason. Put the kid in there. But if you wanted to haul like, I don't know, some jugs of water down to your local park to water the trees or the flowers or something like that, I mean, yeah, go for it. If you can't fit them inside, there's a lot of room inside too.
Yeah.
So, all right, so these are done. I'm going to throw those down. Done. Let's see what else we got before we call this good, because we've been on for a while, everybody. Yeah. It's been almost an hour or so. Actually, it has been an hour officially here. So let's see. I'm glad that you guys are getting lots of good discussion. I'm going to try to get either Kevin or Nevin to be on a live stream at some point. I don't know when that'll happen. I will let you know. I'm also thinking about making a Facebook group so that we can discuss people that aren't owners, because there's a Pebble owners group that's really good.
Yeah.
But it's kind of exclusive to people that are owners or people that have paid and purchased, just because we don't want to have a lot of negative chat going on in there, and that can kind of happen. So I don't know. I was thinking I might open this up to more of a wider audience, to my subscribers and anybody else that's interested in this kind of thing. But I'm not 100% sure I want to do it on Facebook. Damon's a developer, so we've talked about maybe making just a website to discuss on.
Sure.
And then we can just take it down at some point if we don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that could be as simple as like a WordPress forum or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It doesn't have to be too crazy. So
something where we could post something and then people.
Are you going to film your race? Absolutely.
Oh my God, yes.
That's a guaranteed filming opportunity right there.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, hopefully I won't get smashed, and it'll. If you really smash me, I'm gonna call bullcrap that you used your off-road switch.
I swear to, I'll even set up a GoPro so that you can see inside. I'll film it as I'm riding, so you can see I don't hit the off-road switch.
So Mary says I would love to help with the website. We'd actually build a website for everything Pebble. She's a .NET developer, so yeah.
Oh,
anyway, cool.
Yay! Hi, Mary, fellow developer.
So let's see. I think that's about it. I'm going to call it. This has been going on for a while. It's been entertaining with the rain. It stopped now.
And the chainsaw.
And the chainsaw, yeah, the chainsaw and the rain. Good times.
It's actually getting sunny again out there now.
I suppose I could plug my other bikes just because we're still here for a second. Yeah. So this is my Bike Friday, everybody. This thing is sweet. It weighs, about, with the bags and everything on it, it weighs about 21 pounds. It's pretty light.
Yeah, it's very light.
It folds up and goes into a suitcase if I want to do that. And I've got, the gearing on this thing is the same as a full-size road bike with a compact double. So I've got all the gearing that I need, even though the small wheels, there's a special type of cassette on the back called a Caprio. So it's got a 9-tooth cog. So it's a 9 to 28 cassette, if anybody of you are gearies. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. The tires wear out fast because they're small. Yeah. And then my other bike, which has been off camera this whole time, is this beast. And it's a lot of fun. I'm going to drop stuff down here.
A real motorbike. Or off-road bike, mountain bike.
This is my mountain bike.
Forgot the word mountain there.
So this thing is, it's a 26er, so it's very old school for all of you that are into mountain biking. But my other, you saw my road bike, and so I've got a 24, a 26, and a 451. So I don't have anything bigger than a 26. So this feels pretty huge for me. So I'm not really interested in any more than that, but it's really a lot of fun. It's a great bike. It's good for going off road on, and really a kick.
I'm going to be honest. I have not ridden my my road bike since getting the Pebble.
That happens.
Not once.
Yeah, I rode mine all summer though, because as much as I love to ride the Pebble, the road bike's really a blast, and it's faster.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Anyway, thanks everybody for showing up. Let's see if there's any last questions before we call it good here. I'd love the ability to search for fixes, reviews, and upgrades. Yeah, that'd be a great call. We could probably integrate that on the website, have a separate space for that type of discussion. You guys could host content about the Pebble on GitHub if you keep the information open source, free for other users.
Sure, we could even use Markdown. There are Markdown parsers that you can use to have the actual content hosted in GitHub, and then your website just loads it up.
Aaron says, I was thinking about setting up a Citadel site, but it felt strange doing it before my Pebble actually arrived. Oh, well, I started my video series before the Pebble actually arrived, so whatever. Yeah, so I think that's it. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And, of course, the video will be available on YouTube in, I don't know, probably the next hour or so. I think it has to render and stuff. But pleasure talking to you guys. And we'll do another one. I don't know if we're going to do them every month or if I'm going to do more like other videos or how it's going to go. But I kind of like doing these because I like the interaction. Yeah. And we'd like to do one at a park or something at some point, so we might try doing that too.
In about a month, the weather's going to be much better.
Yeah.
And it'll be good for something like that, hopefully.
It was amazing last week, so,
Yeah.
Anyway, see you guys. I'm going to hang up now.
Bye-bye.
Let's see if I can do this.